Yes, lads, welcome your faces back to Blue Abroads. The team announcements. We're live, we're uninterrupted. It's me, Pom, and I'm joined as always by my partner in crime and all things team related, Mr. Lekus Doggers. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm bloody excited, Pom. It's hard not to be excited after last weekend, knowing what to expect going into this week. I'm just pumped. I'm amped. I'm ready to abuse some Melbourne supporters, the few that show up. It's going to be fantastic. I'm excited, Pom, that we're not delisting players. We're not trading players. West Coast cut 6 players already. Players are requested. 745 players want to go to Port Adelaide. Mate, we're still playing footy. It's bloody awesome.
Mate, no delistings round our parts. We're all about semi-finals here. And we're probably the most, this is the most important team selection show in its history. Let's be honest. Aside from that, usually it's the round 12 token fixture with Essendon. So here we are. We are here. And obviously everything all prepped. Friday night, bright lights. Carlton, Melbourne, which, when we get through this, we'll be one game away from the big dance, Lekdog.
Mate, it's exciting stuff. It's exciting stuff. Can you imagine what our grand final team show is going to be like? Mate, it's going to be bloody... We might have to do it on OnlyFans because I don't think YouTube is going to let us do it there.
Mate, I reckon it should just be a 24-hour fucking stream, to be honest. Just 24-hour digestion stream. It's going to be interesting. The reports, Josh, are he has passed the test. He hasn't been selected. Riley Beveridge and co have gone with that. Prelim next time, spot on. The Rap King, you've been called.
Thanks, Lucky Jack. I love that my what was a dumb nickname in Lekdog has evolved into Lapdog over the journey on this show. It's bloody beautiful.
It's going to be interesting. Well, what are we expected to see from team selection, Lekdog? You tell me.
I don't think there'll be shocks, will there? It'll be Harry and Jack Martin out, and it'll be Motlop stays in the side, and probably Matt Kennedy. I know JSOS would be the perfect fill in, but we don't have access to him. He's not going to play this week, so I can't imagine, Pom, there's going to be anything crazy. Suspect maybe a Hollands as a sub to cover for that collarbone we keep talking about for Blake Acres, but you'd be surprised if there was any other changes. Like the first final we won in 10 years, you'd be stiff to be getting dropped out of it, even if you were really bad. Like,
do you know what I mean? Well, my mate Faz calling you sex dog.
I like that. I like that. I like those two things separate, but I like the nickname. It's good.
Do you know what I mean? Elise, I think she's nailed the team. Kennedy, Motlop sub, we'll find out. Adam, mate, unfortunately, the only people who tell me what to do are people I respect. And my nan and pop died a long time ago. So vis-a-vis, since I've been 16, I do what the fuck I want when I want. But we are in the finals. Fucking Lekdog. Chat, get around it. Get excited. What are we expecting? What are we expecting this week? What are the vibes? Chat, talk to me. How are we feeling?
Mate, I said this on fan cams that I legitimately think the fans played a huge part in winning that game. Not just getting the hype up at the start of the game, but holding on to the win. Like, you couldn't hear anything for the last sort of 35 seconds of that game when they brought it back to the middle. It was just, we were literally just standing there screaming and making noise and like just having basically 90,000 people had mental breakdowns all at once. And it got us. I really legitimately think it helped get us across the line. So I want more of that. I think it's probably going to be a relatively low scoring game. I know it won't be wet, so we can't play the reigning thing, Pom, sadly. But I think given the players coming out of the forward lines, JVR for them. Obviously, the two guys for us. I think it's probably going to be a bit of a low-scoring game. Both of us, they were really inefficient inside 50 last week, and we weren't that amazing. So I think it's going to be a real grind like it was last time. It was a real arm wrestle last time. I think that's the most apt way to describe it. I think it'll probably be more of the same. And I think that excites me because I've seen these boys grind out wins for the better part of the last sort of 12, 13 weeks now.
Mate, I couldn't agree with you more. I agree with you as well, Faz. I don't like seeing free hit. I don't like seeing free and hit. This is a semi-final. Do you know what I mean? There is no such thing as a free semi-final. Kingslayer, mate, don't assume anything about me. I don't assume anything about you. If that's what you think, that's what you can think.
Mate, you just look at the chat. It's big. It's given who's flooded the chat and chatting with us tonight, and welcome everyone. Love the comments. This is the energy. We're drawing in everyone, Pom. It ain't just Carlton people today.
Do you know what I mean? We've got a few in here. Blues by 10 says Jay. Did Pommy and Lek predict Doc would kick our first and that Kemp would take a strong mark within the first few minutes?
I don't know if I said first. I said Doc, when we were predicting when the crowd would erupt, I did say Doherty would kick a goal in the first quarter, and that would be the moment we all exploded. Didn't say it was the first one, but yeah, we definitely talked about both Kemp and Doc last week.
I actually do think you said, I think that was your big call, Doc going first.
It might have been. I definitely called him kicking a goal in the first. I definitely called that. But
Mushroom. Very, very well done. I remember saying that Kemp's going to leap over someone in early doors.
Mushroom, Jasmine, your job is to go back and watch the replay and tell us if we're right or not.
Mate, I am not the type of guy that rewatches my own content.
Don't have the
time. Alex, spot on, mate. You know what they're going to do. So obviously we've got no forward this week, which is a bit of a sad.
Yeah,
a bit sad. So, I mean, obviously, there's going to be a few options. So, Chat and Lekdog. Obviously, the most obvious option that the media are playing with and most logical is Kennedy forward, right? That's what people are saying. Probably the most likeliest thing is everyone floats forward and Voss sticks with the TDK, Pitternet rest forward. Kennedy then goes a little bit high at that half forward role that we have seen him play under Voss. We haven't seen, only David Teague's played Kennedy at full forward. Remember that. Or do we swing someone from the back line? Chat, what's your preference? And Letdog, what's your preference?
I think my preference is to not mess with the back line that's been performing well all year. And Andy Marr said this, so take this however you want it. He suggested like similar, don't touch Kemp, McGovern, or Wiedering. They've been the core of the back line the whole year. It's been one of our strengths is that defensive line. He did suggest potentially you use Caleb Marchbank as a defensive forward. I don't hate that idea, but I think they're going to keep it simple. I think they're in-game changes if you're going to make them. I think you bring in Kennedy, you play him in the... I don't even know if you start him on the field, but he spends some time up forward. We know he can take marks. He's not the best converter of those opportunities, but he does like taking marks. I think we rely on TDK to really impact and take some grabs, which he's shown glimpses of, but hasn't really done so far. I think it's going to be basically TDK doing the Harry role. I don't know, Pom. Do you think they would use Curnow further up the ground and TDK deeper, or do you think they'll use TDK further up the ground and keep Curnow in the forward 50? What do you think?
Well, it's interesting because you saw what happens when Curnow goes higher up the ground, right? In the second half, that his delivery inside 50 is brilliant, but he's not on the end of it, which is a bit of a problem. And you've seen Curnow's got an uncanny knack of hitting Harry when he's been doing it. So I think it's going to be interesting that we know Kennedy does like that lead. He does lead pretty well. We know that Motlop leads pretty well. For those who were asking as well, saw a few comments, will Motlop be up for a final? If you go back and watch my draft previews when we discussed Jesse Motlop, me and Terry, that's where he came alive in a final. And if you go back and watch some of them South Fremantle games back end of the season and in the finals, he was incredibly good at finding space. So I think that Kerner will probably go high up the ground, but I think that Carlton will go for trying to keep him inside where he can do damage. I reckon when Voss has moved Kerner up there, it's usually when the game is on the line, not to start with. Yeah. So I'd imagine TDK may go back to that early season. Higher up the ground.
I quite like what Mushroom has said in the comments. Throwing it out there, can we allow Cripps to play full forward, bring in Dow and Kennedy? They probably don't need to bring in both, but I like they did it a bit last week, didn't they? They did move Cripper forward, and he was able to impact forward of the ball. We've seen it happen in the past. I don't think it's you start him at full forward, but I think we're definitely going to see Cripps in the forward line at times tomorrow night, and I think that's a great suggestion. And it would actually make sense. The Kennedy in move makes more sense if you take some of, as you just said before, Pom, some of everyone's time out of the middle. But Cripps in particular, we know he can actually be dangerous up forward when he's ready to fight and fit and healthy and fit and firing.
I think Kingslayer's nailed it. Kerner, Kennedy, TDK. I think them three will probably have the largest forward percentage. And then I think you'll probably see what you saw against when we played Melbourne last time as well. Do you know what I mean? They'll rest players up there. I mean, with Kennedy coming in as well, it gives Carlton an option to do some massive rotations. And let's talk about Motlop. I agree with me mate Aidan here. I think he's really set up for this because I know last week he didn't have a great game. He came on, right? He came on very late. He didn't have any touches, but I did enjoy the free kicks he gave away. He really got in to the spirit of the physicality, which I think is probably the hardest thing to do as a small forward. Come in, game on the line, to come in with that literal hunger. And he looked hungry. He just couldn't get with the pace of the game. But defensively, he was trying to be a menace. I think from start to finish, this is in his blood. This is in his blood, Motlop. The same way we got excited about old Jesus. Motlop, he's destined to play finals. He was big for South Fremantle. He was big in the VFL finals last year as well. He'll be big here. He's made for the big stage, and I can't wait to see him.
Yeah, and look, I know he didn't touch the ball really. One possession, no disposals, in basically quarter footy. But he's an impact player, and he's up and down. He's generally not someone who's going to give you consistent results in each quarter of a game of footy. So there are going to be quarters where he disappears, but there's going to be quarters where he kicks 3 goals in 5 minutes. So having the full game ahead of him is going to be what sees success, because the more he's out on the ground, the more likelihood you are to get that one really, really good quarter or that 5-minute patch of really, really good footy. And I'm with you. I think he's not scared of the moment. He's going to take it on. He's going to do something a bit outlandish and make it a little harder than he needs to, but it's going to look bloody good, and we're all going to get on the seats and lose our minds. I think I'm excited to see a full game from him, and there's opportunity for him to impact. And just before we move off the forward line, I just wanted to mention that we keep talking about who are they bringing in to replace Harry up forward. It's actually not Harry up forward that I want replaced. It's the marks on the wing that we need replaced. What he does in the forward line is kind of secondary. What he provides us is those contested marks and that connecting point between the wing and the forward line. So that's the questionable bit, rather than the actual what Harry does inside 50, because you got guys like Motlop and Owies and all that can still impact and score in the forward half, but they probably can't take marks on the wing to a pack of 10 players.
Do you know what I mean? It's mate, I think you've nailed it, and I think what we've proven is last time we played them, we had no Harry, and we also had we had not, our midfield was hemorrhaged, and that was where I think, like Slayer says here, bit of Cherry there, bit of Walsh there. Do you know what I mean? You've suddenly got a real big midfield, right? Do you know what I mean? You've got a real big midfield rotation there. And that has been the big turnaround since around 12. Do you know what I mean? The big rotations. That's the big thing we've seen statistically change under Voss, where there's been the criticism that he doesn't rotate that midfield. You've now got you've got Doc going through there. Last week, you've got Doc, Walsh, Cherry, Cripps, even Fogarty. He's really liking that rotation against a team that is probably the ones who can hold a candle to our midfield. That is where our strength's going to be. And basically, all someone's got to do for a week is hold that spot as that conduit between midfield and forward. And you presume Kennedy's done it before. He's hungry. Voss has talked about he excelled in the scratch match. Obviously, a scratch match ain't AFL football, but Kennedy, you've got to look at it from this point of view. Whoever comes in this game, they're coming in the biggest game of their life, and that's the biggest motivation you can have. And all the rest of the boys are humming.
Yeah, if you can't get up for this game, then you're dead. Do you think, Pom, there's any other potential changes? I know teams are about to drop. Any crazy last minute changes you might think that we see? Is there a defender that misses for a Boyd? Is there anything, or do we think it's just going to be stock standard?
I don't. I don't think you'll see any changes. I literally think you'll see Kennedy, Motlop, Hollands, and that's it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. But
Josh, just do me a favor. Like every week, like honestly, God loves you. I know stronger together. Josh, look, shh. Okay? Shh. Speak when I ask you a question. It's every week, man, and it's monotonous. We're in the finals. Do you know what I mean? In the finals, and every week you're just grating about the team. So obviously we've got the team is about to announce. But to answer your question, Rat Dog, no, I don't. I don't think we are going to see a massive change. I think Voss will go with exactly what he knows. Why would you change it? Do you know what I mean? At the moment, from round 12, everything Voss has done has been perfect. So his confidence will be high. The players will be confident in Voss, and everyone's confident in each other. So for me, I don't think Boyd, God bless him, I think he's got suspended at the wrong time.
He got unlucky, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't think anyone can come out of that back line. I think that back line, literally now, we're in a situation. I remember having a coffee with Cooter once, and Cooter saying that during the glory years, if you had a bad game, the first thing you did was read the paper to see what the reserves did because you knew you would lose your job.
Yeah.
And he said that's why they were so good, that mid-90s side, that if you were suspended or you were out, you probably weren't going to get back in the team. That's what we've got now, a real healthy competition, and long may it continue.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't need to talk about this or anything, but there might be players when you're in a position, your club's in a position where you're competing, you've got depth, and a bad performance means you might miss out. You are going to see some players leave the club, which we haven't really seen. We've had maybe one or two players leave the club in this rebuild. Really, most of them have stayed. But it's actually a good thing that we're generating such competition that we're finally going to be a club where you can't just come because you want to get like 23 games a year. It's like, oh, I'll go to Carlton. I want to go and play some footy. We're not going to be that anymore. And I think you're right. I think for poor old Boydie, and he kind of talked about this at the member event, he kind of just got suspended at the wrong time, which sucks for him, but it's great for us as fans and people who love the club.
Mate, spot on, and take it away, Let Dog.
My man, the Wookie.
$15 donation from our mate UK. Just hope we didn't play our grand final last week. Mate, I think they will be up for the task. Reports filtering through that Kennedy is a confirmed in from our boy Jack Hardy. I agree with Mushroom Baboon. I mean, I think you could have any combination of 23 names, and the teams have dropped.
Here we go.
And we have Brody Kemp. The only in is Kennedy, Mackay, and Martin, obviously out. Interchange bench. Matt Kennedy comes straight onto it, but it is Brody Kemp, Jacob Wheater, and Nick Newman, Chincotta, McGovern, Sard, Akers, Cripps, Cottrell, Doc, TDK, Owies, Fogarty, Kerno, Motlop, Pitternet, Chera, Walsh, Marchbank, Hewitt, Cunningham, Kennedy, emergencies, Paddy Dow, Ollie Holland, Zach Fisher, and Sam Durden. So one of them will be the sub. As for Melbourne, no Brayshaw, Bailey Laurie, Van Ruin, and Hibbard are all out. Tomlinson, Spargo, and Jordan, with their guaranteed team being Lever, Tomlinson, Bowie, McVeigh, May, Salem, Hunter, Oliver, Langdon, Jordan, Fritz, Petraka, Sparrow, McDonald, Neil Bullen, Gorn, Viney, Pickett, Spargo, Rivers, Smith, Chandler, with their emergency or sub being Grundy, Hibbard, Laurie, or Shaki.
Yeah, very interesting side from Melbourne there. All the speculation all week was that they would bring in a forward. They've actually doubled down, brought in another defender. I guess the amount of inside 50s that they created last week, they probably didn't really worry about changing the forward half. Jordan comes in, he can tag, he can also replace a Brayshaw, watch that space, and Spargo, he's a bit of a live wire, but it's a very interesting team from them. My first thoughts for us, we kind of knew what the team was going to be. Obviously, Motlop held his place in the side, so that's why he's not listed as an in everyone. I suspect the sub will be actually, Sam Durden's an interesting one on the emergencies. He's obviously not going to play, but just interesting that in a team that has 4 tall defenders, they've named one in the emergency. Just going to watch that. But Ollie Hollands would be my sub, I think. I love Paddy Dow as the sub, but I think Ollie Hollands makes more sense structurally for us. What about you?
Mate, it's going to be interesting which way they go. I mean, we can only go on the reports. John O'Baruch was at the ground and he reported that the ins have been pretty much spot on to what he said. And he said that Hollands was primed to be sub. But there will definitely be no JSOS. Josh, as I said to you earlier, it's not happening. It's not happening. So it's not rocket science. Do you know what I mean? It's not rocket science. But there are the teams, chat. So I really like that team. I think Carlton have absolutely nailed that. Do you know what I mean? I think they've nailed that.
Well, I mean, you don't need to make that many changes to a side that's just won its first final in 10 years, other than the forced changes. It would have been interesting to see if Martin and Mackay were both available, if they would have made any changes at all. I suspect they probably wouldn't, but I saw a few people suggesting maybe a Chincotta or maybe a Cunningham could come out of the side, but I just think there's a nice balance across the team of everyone chipping in and doing their bit. So no, I'm happy with it. And Sam Doherty named in the half forward line, a bit like someone's team last week on the selection panel show. I love to see that.
Do you know what I mean? It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Definitely I actually think probably the most excited I've been for a team selection for a long time. I don't know what anyone else thinks, but considering the outs, I agree with you. I think it's a real nice balance. There's a lot of rotations there. It's got everything you could ever want in a team. And
all day,
I really like the selections that they've gone with. The selections that they've gone with makes our selections feel a lot more favoured to us.
Yeah, both teams are loading up in defence and kind of just like whatever happens in the forward line happens in the forward line. It's almost mirrored. They've got Petraka named at half forward. We've got Doherty named at half forward. They've got a couple of key forward targets, McDonald and Fritsch, I guess. I mean, they target him like a key forward. it's going to be a really big battle. I think a lot of it, there's been a lot of talk about Pito and Gawn in the ruck, and Pito's going to have a hell of a job to do. We do have the luxury of having backup ruck in this team, whereas they don't really, not that they need it. I'm just, Palmer, I was talking all day. I was at a conference today. I was quite a few Melbourne people and talking to them. And they're like, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? And throughout the day, I was like, I'm a bit worried about having no Mackay and Martin and who's going to take the marks and how the team's going to line up. Seeing it on paper, which is the team we knew we were going to have, it looks good. Like, I love Harry. We're going to miss his marking. And Jack Martin, obviously, is, arguably my favorite player. But, like, having depth turns out is really good, Pom, because you can still put out a good team when you take 2 players out.
Mate, I agree. I agree with you totally. I think that we are in a happy spot. And I think that even though them outs are there, one thing I know about this team is they are playing with something that you probably can't buy from the shops. So I don't think these injuries, these suspensions, whatever you throw at them, he's going to get in the way. I keep saying it. You can't fight destiny. You can't fight your fate. Do you know what I mean? You can hide from it. You can't fight it. And I think right now that they're owning it. But Mushroom wants to know our predictions. So we're at that time of the night. Let's do it. I want your... All right, go on. Tell you what. Your bold prediction. Your bold prediction. A player prediction. A player doing something. A bold prediction.
All right. I think here's my bold prediction. I think Mark Pittonet takes a big grab in the forward line and kicks a goal, much to his own surprise. I think he follows Gawns around and ends up just snagging one. That's my big prediction.
Ooh, Pittonet's kick a goal. Chat, give me your bold player ones. So don't go with something logical.
There's a few floating through. Matt Kennedy to kick 6. Jesus, if that happens, I don't know what I'll do.
This is great by Philo Genie. Well done. I love that. It's never the players you don't have, it's the team you do. Spot on. Mine is TDK 3 goals.
Yeah. Huge. So imagine that. Mate, if he kicks 3, all of a sudden it changes your perception of him as a player if he can stand up in a big game and do that. And it probably changes because how he develops goals, going forward.
Yeah, his most goals is 2 versus Gold Coast. I've got a feeling he gets his 3rd. I've got a feeling that you'll see a little bit of magic. I like that. I'm with you, Elise. Cottrell kicks 4, Plowman to kick 3.
My best, my bestie from Westy, Damo, your friend as well, Fremantle fan, Damo. He's texted me. His prediction is Chincotta 10+ tackles and absolutely blankets. And the text is cut off. Blankets A and B. Anthony, I love it. Is that Anthony Neil Bullen? Is that his name?
Mate, I love it.
Alex Neil Bullen.
I love some of these predictions. Alex Neil Bullen, yeah.
Yeah.
Gov gets 1 from 50. Chincotta kicking 2. Oh, we'll lose it. McGovern to kick the winning goal. Love that, Mushroom. Paddy, wow, be the sub. Well, tell you what, we've got to give John O'Baruch props. Shout out to John O'Baruch because he nailed the investigative journalism. So, Cozzy Pickett to kick 1 with 30 seconds left. Oh, Charlie kicks 8. Okay, right. Next one, chat. Who has the most meters gained in our backline?
Most meters gained in the backline. So I'm not going to pick one of Kemp, McGovern, or Caleb Marchbank because there's a chance that they get sent forward at some stage. I mean, Adam Sard was brilliant last week. I got to back in my boy Nicky Newman. I feel like he was very good again last week. Didn't get the kudos because so many other players stood up. But I think Nick Newman leads all comers, or leads all Carlton players for meters gained, and I think he's going to have a big one.
All right. Oh, there we got Sard. We got people agreeing with you. Hyde. We got Sard. We've got Newman.
The Wolf thing, Tom. I love it. It's awesome.
Like
at the ground, to me, it never feels that impactful. I watched that video they posted, and it gave me goosebumps. Everyone doing that. So, Sardi, every time he kicks it, keep woofing. All the fans who suck about it and say it's lame that are Collingwood supporters, and they chant Collingwood, Collingwood when a bloke's dead on the ground in the middle of the ground. He's just been knocked out. Keep woofing.
I agree, mate. No, I agree. I think I agree with chat, but Jack Hardy makes a good point. I reckon Blake Acres may have an answer, but I reckon Sard will do it. And finally, chat, I want to know two things. Right? One, your favourite Carlton friend, who you're going to be the first to share or call when you win or lose, right? So I want you to give them a shout out in there. Your first person you message, or who the person is who brings you round, or who you're celebrating with. And then I want your score predictions. Like, dog, who's the first person you ring and cry?
Oh, mate. Well, mate, it'll be me and Dad. We'll post another celebration photo at the end of the game. It'll be massive. And then I'll call you, because that the two people I talk to about Carlton are my dad and you. And well, I talk to many people, but you're the two people I speak to about 87% of the week. Talking Blues. We're going to win. Carlton are going to win. It's going to be a relatively low-scoring affair. Blues win 72, and I'm getting a 68 in my head for Melbourne, which is too close for comfort. Another 4-point win. It couldn't happen again, could it?
Oof. Mate, I've got a feeling that this game, I reckon it's a 2-goal win, Carlton.
Yeah.
All right, it's 2-goal win, Carlton. And first person I speak to is usually Leg Dog. I'm not just saying that because he's here. Leg Dog is usually my go-to win, lose, draw, indefinite. Do you know what I mean? Usually my father-in-law will cop it first. Because he's the first person I see when I get out of this office, but Let Dog is the first. Rowan, you've always got Carlton friends, mate. While my arse points down, there'll be no one without a Carlton friend, so I love that. We've got Scott, who calls his mate, Matt calls Scott in America. I love it. Heidi calls Michael. I love that. Luke just calls Cripps. I like that. Michael C. Madden calls his dad. I love that. Maz, I love that. The kids. Tell you what.
Anyone saying that they don't have anyone to call, just jump on the fan cams with Terry and let it all out, because it's going to be a big night. It's going to be a lot of emotions, and I think we're going to be very happy Blues supporters. I think we're going to be very happy Blues supporters, and I'm proud. I'm proud of the boys. It's remarkable what we've been able to witness and sort of be a part of the documentation of, Bomb.
I love it. I love it. Shout out to Matty as well. His old man, he passed away in Jan last year. Much condolences to you, mate. But you've always got us, Matty. And we're going to do your dad proud. We're going to fucking bring it home. So he'll be watching somewhere. Kingslayer is close, mate. Carlton by 13. We've got another dad here. After the last game, I SMS someone I worked with 4 years ago. Hey, I love that, Zia.
That's awesome.
They just randomly just take someone. Mate, I love that.
Unless they were a Sydney fan and you were just saying get fucked. But either way, it's actually pretty funny.
Do you know what I mean? Says, you've always got me. Do you know what I mean? You're always in the watch along. 8:30 tonight, indeed. I will be back on with Faz. We'll be talking about football. You call yourself. Tell you what, though, talking to yourself is sometimes the best way to get an intelligent response.
Sometimes it's the only way, Pom.
Do you know what I mean? I've saved myself mentally with having kids. That sometimes I just answer myself when I ask them to do something. Chat! On Are You OK Day, make sure that it's not just today, but make sure every day you are checking in with friends, loved ones, and colleagues. You never know if anyone's struggling. It's not something I buy into, Are You OK Day. It's a bit like a dog. It shouldn't be for one day. It should be for every day. So make sure if you have today checked in on someone, you do that tomorrow and you double down the day after. There's a few people in this chat who've just said that they don't have any Carlton friends. So I see all of you beautiful people in this chat every fucking week. So make sure you're reaching out and creating connections, because the best thing about this job that I do for you guys, and I don't do this for myself, I do this for you guys and the community. I love doing it. The most important thing is the togetherness. That helps me through it when it's dark. So make sure that you're someone's pom today.
Yeah.
And you're always there. So let's maybe next week, right? Maybe next season, me and Let Dog will create a blue chat, and we can have a thing where you're forced to text someone else at the end of the game. You can be like me and Pom, me and Let Dog. We call each other and cry in each other's arms.
Mate. Legit, like, we didn't know each other 3 years ago or whatever, and through this channel and the comments and fan cams and stuff, we got to know each other. And now, you know, when I'm going through tough times and my mental health's bad and I'm depressed and I get anxious, I just call you and you just sort it out for me. So it's bloody beautiful, and that's available to everyone in the chat. Like, we can create a bloody good community here. We have a great community.
Hey, I've got to say, me and Let Dog talk so much that I could actually have an affair on my wife and just store the affairee's name as Let Dog. Because as soon as my phone goes off and she sees Lek, she's like, all right. So she just leaves me alone. It's like the code. But no, chat, make sure you look after each other. I'll be back tonight on my channel, 8:30. If you do like the round ball, we're going to be discussing that with Faz. Sunday, me and Let Dog are on Pom and Us channel with the new Pom and Let Dog show. So come and say hello to us then. If you can't get to the game, come and see me Friday. Me and myself and you lot will be cheering these boys home. You don't need a ticket. All you need is a voice and some banter. Look after yourselves. Make sure you have a good rest, because tomorrow we go to war. Look after yourselves, everyone. Peace, love. We'll be back next week. Go Blues!
Go Blues!